Okay, welcome back to episode 15 of Consistently Inconsistent. This is Teun Scholten, Teun Scholte. I'm from now on just gonna say my name in Dutch. I don't give a fuck about English speakers, even though I'm an English speaker. You can all fuck off, you fucking cunts. Um, yeah. Anyways, I don't know. The last couple of podcasts I've actually done with other people, and I kind of want to bring back to a podcast by myself. This is actually mainly due to how do you say the guys in us or all my cousins' friends. I imagine some of them will be listening to this. I saw them it was a week ago now, so I want to say shout out to you guys. Thank you for listening to my podcast, even if it's not on a consistent basis. I hope you enjoy the joint you're smoking when you're listening to this, or did smoke before this. So, yeah. An interesting thing that I just wanted to quickly bring up. So, normally when I speak or when I meet someone, right? This mainly happened in America because, well, first let me say the premise. So, normally when I meet someone, uh, or when I introduce myself, I normally say tune, even though my name is Tone. I say tune because, well, when I was in America growing up, everyone always had trouble saying tone. You would have to repeat it 15 times, and then they would have this really wacky, shitty version of saying it and all this stuff, which is fine, I guess, in a sense. And it's not that big of a deal. But, well, no, it is, never mind. Fuck that. It is a big fucking deal, all right? It's a big deal because I don't say my name the way it should be said, which is Tone. So I'm just gonna say Tone. Fuck English speakers, those arrogant cunts. Even though I'm an English speaker, which makes me an arrogant cunt. That's actually also another thing. So this is actually something I also realized in Os with my cousin's friends. Well, it was my cousin's birthday. I should say happy birthday to him as well. Turned 21. Fucking old cunt. What a fucking old cunt. But yeah, so he turned 21 and I was there. He had like thrown like this kind of like party with for his friends, girlfriend, me, family, basically just people the same age that he liked, basically. So, or similar age. And it was funny. I was sitting there, like I was drinking. I was not fucked up, like completely fucked up, but I was drunk, and I wasn't like my normal drunk. Like I wasn't like excited. Like I was just kind of mellow. I was just that drunk. It was fine. But one thing I realized, I was like, dude, I don't consider myself like in a different country. Like wherever I walk, right? Like in my mind, I'm like, oh, you're still in America. Like it sounds weird, right? But like when you go out of country, right, or just out of your place that you live, and you even though I've been here for a year and a half, still I feel like I'm in America. Like when you leave your small town or you leave your country or your city or whatever, you still have this feeling of like, oh no, no, you are the other people in the room are where I am or where I'm from. So like if I'm in a room full of people in the Netherlands and they all might be foreign, in my mind I don't think, "Oh, I'm in a room full of people that are foreign." I think to myself, "Oh, I'm still in America with just a bunch of random people." You know? Which is kind of arrogant, I know. And like I still obviously think about the foreignness or the just the cultural thing, whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? The fucking gay ass culture. I hate the word culture. Like, really, I think that word is so overused in such a stupid fucking way. It's ridiculous. Culture, culture, culture. It's like, shut the fuck up, bro. Just you don't even understand what culture is, all right? Nobody understands what culture is. So just shut the fuck up. Don't use that word around me. I don't want to hear that word. That word is so stupid. But yeah, I just like I even though I still think to myself like, oh, like I'm in America, even though I'm definitely not. I still treat everyone with respect, right? Like I still treat everyone the way I would treat someone in America. Like obviously people aren't as used to it, but I'm not going to just completely change the way I do in a way change the way I behave people because there was an interesting thing actually in my last podcast. Sana, after we finished, she mentioned that I don't always say what I want to say, and that was actually a good point. And I started thinking about it because, well, it's true. I don't always say what I want to say. I mean, mainly for the fact that if I said everything or if I said everything the way I wanted to say it and how I want to say it, like it would be a bit sketchy, man. Like there would I can say like I say things that when I say it like I don't think about what I say beforehand, and it can be pretty out there. Like not just like oh like a funny joke or like I'm just making a comment about something. Like I mean like I will say something that will slap the fuck out of somebody. Like they hear it, and because I've seen this on people's faces. Like I'll say something and everyone goes oh, and I'm just like oh fuck, here we go. Like now I got to deal with all this bullshit. So no, I don't say everything I want to say, and there's a fucking reason for that, right? Because like with for example being outside of America, like I can't just completely treat you as an American because you're not. That's a bit weird, right? Like I think in a way that would make you feel uncomfortable in a sense, and sure, uncomfortable is part of a conversation. You don't want the whole conversation to be comfortable because then it's just a shitty conversation. Then it's just, how was your day? Oh, my day was good. What did you do? Oh, I went to fucking the grocery store and I bought a fucking croissant and then I went home and then I fucking listened to some gay ass music and cried myself to sleep. It's like, or well, I mean that's not what a conversation normally goes like. But I mean that's kind of like you're just talking about the same bullshit like a day to day basis, right? It's like if you want to have a conversation, like a good conversation, that conversation has to be fucking uncomfortable, man. Like a good one that you will fucking remember. Because a good conversation is not a conversation that you can have on a day to day basis. A good conversation is something that when you're having it, you're thinking, you're pushing yourself. It's like a performance. A conversation is like a performance. It's an act. You have to push yourself to the limits of exactly what you think or what you want to say. So, yeah. That's kind of the general gist. That's just something I've been thinking about recently. I mean, it's all kind of tied together. What I just speak about or spoke about, like the American thing, the not saying what I want to say. There's another thing I mentioned in there. Ah, fuck it. I really, I don't care. But if you're listening to this, you kind of get that all of this kind of goes in together, right? It's the way that you act in front of people and how you present yourself because that's important, right? I mean, you just people will say don't care about what other people think, but it's like to a certain extent you have to. You have to care. I mean, you want to care for yourself. You don't want someone else in your head saying like, "Oh, well, you didn't do this. You're a piece of shit." Like you want it to be more like okay, I didn't do this. Like it had an effect on these people. It was my responsibility. Blah blah blah. Take the fucking hit and move on from it. So, see another topic which is probably a little heavy, but I'm just gonna jump into it because I think this is an interesting idea. So, I'm not. This sounds so fucking stupid, but I basically I've been doing some research on some philosophers because I think it's interesting to see because a lot of these people that are philosophers they've predicted the future by like almost 100 years, right? Like almost 100 years. And one of them was Nietzsche. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of him, but if you haven't, I would definitely recommend you look him up. I don't know how exactly it's spelled. I think it's Niche. Nietzsche. There's like a Z. There's a Z in somewhere or a Z, depending on where the fuck you're from. There's that letter in there somewhere. So just take a Google search and just take a look at what he says. But one of the things he said, right, was because this guy's old as shit, right? He's dead. He's not old. He's just dead. But his ideas are old for us, and one of his ideas was God is dead. In the modern age of society, God is dead. God no longer exists. God doesn't have an impact on society anymore. Okay, that's not his exact words, but God is dead, and we have killed him. That's what pretty much what he's saying. God, and this might be a little bit of a far-reaching topic because I don't know how well you interpret things when it comes to how do you say this type of subject, because it's very philosophical and not everyone understands it. But basically he's saying, so God is dead and we have killed him. So we are the society, right? When they say that, like, the person who has killed God is us, and when I mean us, I mean everyone that currently exists today, even if you're fucking religious. All right, well, yeah. So the question is, what does he mean by God? God is basically this representation of a higher standard in human beings. So, and God is based in religion. And as society gets more modern, becomes more scientific, becomes more philosophical, one of the things they start realizing is that religion is outdated. It doesn't work to the extent that we need it to. The ideas are outdated. It's not up to speed with what we know as a society today. Therefore, religion is dying out. And in that sense, God as well. Because if you're no longer looking at religion, what is the reason for you to look at God? So, and God is basically a set of moral principles. So, I mean, you have the God from the Muslims, God from the Christians, gods from Hinduism, from the Greeks, from the Romans, from the Egyptians, the Native Americans, fucking Incas, all that shit, Mayans. But basically all that shit, right? So they no longer really have a big grasp on our society. So because of that, we don't really have a moral grasp on our society. People are basically moralists in a sense. I mean, you still have morals, right? Like, you still have things that you consider yourself, the rules that you implement into yourself make you. It's a guide, right? You have rules in your brain that allow you to act a certain way, right? And because normally God would take the position in this sense, he would take the moral grounds or the rules or the guideline. God would basically take away from humans' ability to think about these morals and simply just say, this is what I want you to do, this is what you need to do. And that's what our society was like for, well, thousands of years. But now, because of science and, as I said before, philosophy and all this other stuff, you no longer have a centralized form of rules that everyone follows. Obviously, not everyone followed God. I mean, even priests don't follow God. Hey, we don't mention that now. Well, hey. But, yeah, so we no longer have that shit. Now we are left with the fact that we have to create our own guideline, our own rules, right? Because we no longer have God or religion or whatever the fuck you want God to represent, the word of God in this quotation to represent. There's no longer that structure there. This allows people to decide for themselves and how they want to behave. Now, obviously, as a society, we have laws and we have some social rules that we kind of all follow because that's what we need to do in order to not fucking kill the people next to you, right? So, but the thing is we have now lost that guidance. We have done this. We have basically told ourselves, look, we don't want the guidance of religion or God anymore. We want our own guidance. We want to do things ourselves, right? We want to push ourselves forward by our own morals, by truth, by science, by ideas, not by God or religion. Okay, that's fine. I honestly, in a sense, I think individualistically, it's better because you have more of a choice to dictate how your life should be led, how you want to live your life. But I think this also creates an issue in the fact that you no longer have a systematic form of morals. Like when you go to school, for example, it's no longer like, I mean, sure, some schools still in the modern age still have religion in their schools, but not everywhere in the world, right? Religion's not everywhere in the world anymore. So it's not like everyone just gets pushed through religion nowadays. Everyone is pushed through their lives, and their lives dictate the moral grounds and stances they want to take. And these moral grounds and stances basically push them to act out their life, right? So that's how you act out your life, your rules, your morals. That's how you push out your life. That's how you behave. So now the question is, because we have chose the individual side of it, what are the new morals, right? We all have to agree as a society to look at each other and think, you know what? We fucking got this, all right? I mean, before it was kind of like, hey man, we need to do shit because if not, God's gonna judge us. Okay, well, fuck that. We don't have that anymore. I don't believe in it. A lot of people don't believe in that shit anymore. A lot of people who are religious are starting to question that shit, still are questioning that shit, right? So the thing is now, what is the thing for us all to think like, okay, this is the reason why I want to succeed. And everyone's kind of just standing around looking at each other like, oh, are you gonna do something? Is that you? Are you going? Are you gonna go do that? Like it's kind of what our overall general society is. I mean, I think this has a big reason, or this is a big part of why, for example, I mean, I'll say America because it's the best statistics I know. In America, we have a huge increase of depression. We have a huge increase in suicide. We have a huge increase in homelessness. We have a huge increase in, how do you say, just failure of people. We're having an increase in the failure of people, right? So, and I think that's also mainly for the reason that humans don't believe in themselves anymore. Humans only believe in entities and products and things and materials, right? Like, I think to a certain extent, you need to believe in something greater than yourself to a certain extent, right? Like, I say this and I'm not religious. I'm not stupid enough or smart enough to say that I believe in God or that I think God exists. But I do believe in a collectiveness of human beings, in a collective consciousness in human beings. Like I almost think of society. I think of society in two terms. One, I think of it as like an ant colony, right? Like if you look around, everyone is doing their job, and this job that they're doing is somehow benefiting the greater purpose of society, right? Like for example, if you see a dude selling popcorn on the side of the street, like, yeah, okay, you don't think he's helping society, but if you walk up there and buy some popcorn from him, he just made you a little happier. And you made him happy because you bought his stuff, right? Okay, that's great. So you believe in the popcorn. But the question is when you buy that popcorn, what is it actually doing? buying popcorn doesn't do shit, bro. Like, sure, you have some good feeling in your mouth for like 5 to 10 minutes or something like that, but it doesn't actually do anything on a grand scale. But that the actual purchase of that thing, the purchase of the popcorn itself is what is important. So that's why I think it's an ant colony. Everyone is interacting and working together to help each other to stabilize society, right? But obviously, we're not ants, we're human beings. We also compete against each other because that makes us better. That's one of the reasons why ants are fucking ants and human beings are human beings. Um, then you I also have another kind of way of looking at this is so imagine just picture a bed, right? A bed, and it has a blanket on the bed, but the bed is really well made. Like it is so clean. Like it just there's no creases or crosses or whatever the fuck. Like the blanket's not wrinkled, right? It's just straight. It's just perfect. Like it looks like some dude just stepped right off the boat from Afghanistan, walked into your room and cleaned your bed. Like imagine somebody did that and you picture the bed that has been made. Fuck, where, oh yeah, okay. Now imagine under that blanket, under that clean blanket, there are billions of sticks. Each stick basically represents human beings, right? There's just billions of sticks. And they're all a bit separate, they're not all together. They can you can take one out, you can put one back in. Like they're all individual sticks under the bed, right? And I think if you want to think of things on a grander scale, I think if you think of those sticks as human beings, right? And you think of the blanket as where society is, how society is, right? Then think about when a stick or a human being succeeds, it rises above, right? When that stick pushes up, the blanket rises up with the stick, right? The stick pushes the blanket. And now there's a sort of like, there's room, right? There's room because a stick is above all the other sticks. There's some room for other sticks to kind of push up, right? They don't actually have to do anything. They can just kind of move up. Like, sure, they still have to do things in order to move up, but there's already that room that exists because of that one stick, because of that one human being. So if you start pushing up your own stick in this imaginary bed, right, in this scenario, if you push up your own stick, that means the people or the sticks around you now have room to push up as well. They themselves don't push the blanket because, well, they're sticks. They're shit, right? They don't know what the fuck they're doing. The people around you have no goddamn idea what they're doing. To be fair, you don't either. So don't get all cocky and shit. But yeah, but I think it's a human's goal basically to push up their own stick in this scenario, right? Because if you do that, then there's more room for everyone else's stick to be pushed up. So I don't know if that will help you in any sense, but that's how I kind of interpret society in a sense, like that when someone pushes themselves forward, there's room for other people to push themselves as well. So, well, I mean, you're forced to because that's basically what competition is between human beings. But it's also in a beneficial manner. That's how we have a society. Okay. See, do I have anything else to add? Oh yeah. So you have, and another way you can interpret yourself is as like you're a store or a company. Like imagine if everyone in the world had a business. Like I honestly, I think that's how one day the world will just work, right? Just that like for example, like on Instagram or like some platform, everyone will be on it, and that's just the marketplace, and like you can sell things and discuss things. So I yeah, I think if you I think that's what kind of what the future will be like. But I think if you now view yourself as a company, right? And the employees in your company are like your body as well as your thoughts and all this bullshit. Basically everything that is you is your company. So you want to make sure that company is well fucking managed. It's a efficient company, right? How are you gonna work in a company or be part of a company or create a company if your own fucking company is shit, right? If your company is fucking trash, why the fuck are you gonna succeed at working in other companies? It's not gonna work. It's not. Sorry, man, my fucking cigarette went out. Sorry, just gotta relight this bad boy. You know, I really want to go smoke a joint right now. So, but I'm not because of cigarettes. Thank you. um, yeah, I don't know. That's kind of all I wanted to say in this podcast. This podcast was shorter than normal, but I think people enjoy that as well. So, anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, evening, morning, um, train ride, bus ride, bike ride, Xbox, PS, joint, cigarette, drink, or just being sober. You fucking sober cunt. If you're sober and you're listening to this, go get fucked up, bro. Go get. I don't know how anyone could listen to this sober. I can't listen to this shit sober. But anyways, until next time, guys. Thank you.